And good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever it might be, wherever you're around the world. It's Marcus Holmes, and I'm coming again as we closed out yesterday our Gratefulness Challenge, 5 day challenge for last week. On Tuesday, we embark upon a new challenge. But as I was so engulfed and enthralled in yesterday's moment, I did not share, I neglected to share my actual gratefulness moment as I was recounting the moments of the week. Last week, we focused on gratefulness for those whose earthly journeys have ended, but whose moments and reflections we can pull forward into our current existence to help us live more impactfully, more in the moment, more gratefully, even though we've lost loved ones, especially in the season. And for many of us, it's been about a year almost to the date. I just had in a memory reflection a year ago today, I did not have a mask. And I was wondering, okay, where am I going to get mask from? Mason Tone, who I will tag in this video, made a mask for me from Chicago, shipped it to Detroit. And so I didn't have a mask a year ago today. Of course, probably 2 weeks a year ago today, I didn't know I would have a need to walk in the world with a mask, right? And so I was vacillating as to whether or not I would go to the grocery store and looking for people to point me to a grocery store that was less populated because I have underlying health challenges and I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I would have contracted this deadly virus that has literally wiped out families and pastors. And it's just been devastating to some degree. And so I wanted to close out the week with though we're in the beginning of the next, with the tribute that I intended. And I'm just going to click share. I see Christina Smith has joined, AC Bradford has joined. Thank you so much. I want to click share to tag a few more people to just join, because this moment of gratefulness is a reflection of another wonderful person a year ago who I reflected upon, but whose impact and journey still speaks to me today. And I showed his picture earlier, Raymond Tyler. So will you just take a moment and click share, and or drop in the comments the name of someone along your gratefulness journey who you are grateful for, who is no longer in the earth school. I neglected to mention him yesterday as I was reflecting on all of the gratefulness moments of the week, that for yesterday, he was my pick. And he, like Alicia Bradford, are both mentioned in the book. And I didn't, of course, the book was just a thought then. That's right, Ray of Sunshine Tyler, Mr. T. And Alicia, who's a dear friend, is mentioned in the book, as well as Mr. T. They both briefly mentioned in the book, but as I told Alicia, I got another book that there will be more mentioned in. But he, as Alicia just so fittingly typed, was a ray of sunshine. And so he too, from my vantage point, passed suddenly. I wasn't aware that he would be, not that a lengthy illness makes it any better. I don't mean to negate that, but because of the season in which we live and we've heard of so many losses, it's almost like social media has become some form of an obituary, because people are leaving, making transitions, and COVID, hasn't largely helped that, has it? And so Mr. Tyler was the head of security when I started with the city some 18 years ago. He was the head of security, and I loved Mr. T. That's what I called him, and many people called him. Some call him Ray of Sunshine, all of these great names. Ray Mills' page name as well. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Thank you. And thank you. Please tag her in it. I'm going to take a moment for station identification and show his picture again, to just tag a few more persons, because I know it's probably still church time for some people, or they're winding out church time, having Palm Sunday festivities and things of that nature. A lot of churches are going back into the church today. And so sometimes, service might be a little longer. But So I want to just get more people engaged in the Gratefulness Challenge and engaged in Ray Tyler's wonderful story. And so I have so many memories. Some of them I shared last year, and the memory repopulated yesterday, which is a beautiful thing on Facebook. And Ray Tyler was the kind of guy who gave to everybody, and the kind of guy who had the right kind of humor for the right moment, and the kind of guy who had a watchful eye. And that's one of the things I will talk about, that watchful eye. Ray Tyler, from the day I started, and I worked in the Cadillac Tower building downtown Detroit on the 32nd floor. And I'll never forget, we were RT to Alicia. We were separating an employee from service. And a lot of times people will say firing an employee. I never say that in human resources. I say, we write down what you do and it matched the separation of service. And so on an occasion, departments, in this case, recreation, would bring the employee down to human resources for the separation meeting to occur in our office, which was a signal to some that it was more volatile than normal. It was a signal to me sometimes that supervisor or manager felt uncomfortable with their decision. So I always like to have a conversation with them. Are you sure that this is the decision you want to make? In this particular instance, we went into the conference room, which was kind of in the center of the suite, kind of, sort of. And there's a door inside the suite, and there's a door to access it outside the suite, which we typically kept locked. And so I had let the employee and his union steward, and there was a third person with them, I'm not sure why, but I let them in through the outer door that was normally locked. And they came in and they sat down, and I sat down, and we were awaiting the manager to come. And the manager must have come through the regular door entering the suite and then being walked around. And I heard these fast footsteps, and the door swung open, and it was Mr. T. He said, "Mr. Holmes, can I have a word with you?" I said, "Sure. Yeah, we're not started. Let me step out, excuse me." I step out in the hall, and he says, "Come with me." And his office was maybe 6 or 7 feet. And we stepped in his office. He said, "Close that door." And I closed the door. He said, I don't want you ever going in the conference room, meeting with an employee that you're about to separate and not let security know. You might think that you tough, but you about 2'2", and I ain't gonna be running trying to grab somebody from getting up off you. And we both fell out laughing. And he said, "Now, please resume your meeting. I'm sure you're going to just conduct it just fine, but please let me know if you're going to be conducting meetings that could be volatile." We chuckled, and I went in, and I must have smiled the entire meeting, because one of them said, the union members remarked, why do you smile when you are terminating somebody? I said, I did not smile terminating somebody. I was just writing down what had been done. My smile had nothing to do with anything that transpired in this room. And that was the God's honest truth. I was really smiling because I was thinking of Ray Tyler running in there to my rescue. And from that day forward, I felt comfortable in everything that I did in that suite. And I absolutely adored Ray Tyler from that day forward. He always, always, always had my back. And in the Gratefulness journey, I mentioned him in a situation toward the end of the book. I mentioned him in a situation where we had a fatality in our organization. And I just briefly mentioned him, but really in the backdrop of that story, Ray Tyler is typically behind the scenes, keeping stuff like this, keeping things flowing like this. He's not the person that's always in front of the scene. He's the person behind the scenes saying, okay, this is what you need to do to maintain this. And the many stories and the many lessons and the many CDs that he made for me And I was sure that he had only made them for me. Sorry, the rest of you who got CDs from Ray Tyler, because it had my name on it. Now, I suspect everybody's had their name on it. But there would be times that I would run into him and say, "What are you doing here?" And say, "I told you, you never know when I'm watching." And he'd say, "I got something for you." And he'd pop open his glove compartment and hand me a CD with my name on it. Not one that he just wrote my name on. It was already there. And I can't tell you the number of times that he did that. So I'm going to show his picture again. I'm going to invite a few more folks. And I wanted to bring forward that gratefulness moment because, see, for me, having that presence of Raymond Tyler, even though I didn't see him every day or every week, we promised each other we were going to do lunch. We're going to do lunch. We're going to do lunch. And one of the lessons I learned out of that, because he was taken like this, when you tell somebody you're going to do lunch, do it. Don't tell people, let's get together. Do it. Because you don't know if you'll be able to get together beyond the moment that you have the authority and power to do it. But Ray Tyler was a presence for me. He was a staple for me at the city of Detroit. And I'm still saddened today, but very saddened during that time. But it helped me to walk through those moments, as tough as they are and were, knowing that he had shared so much of himself with me and shared himself in a way to be a mentor. And I committed at that time to make sure I latched to a younger brother, latched to a younger professional and tell them, hey, there's a different way to handle that. Or, hey, make sure your back is covered. And he made sure that my back was covered. He had my back. When he got news through the winds of rumor mill, he'd call me and say, hey, I heard this. I just think you should know this. They're saying they're going to do this, but Marcus, they're planning this. So I just wanted to let you know, between you and me, he was that person who ensured that I had the truth of what was going on as he understood it and gave me facts that I might walk into a meeting not having had known. And I'm so grateful to him. So I'm going to again show his picture and I'll be right back. I am going to tag a few more folks. Will you do me the same so that we can get them with us on the Gratefulness Challenge this week? We're back, and that's a picture of Raymond Tyler, who was my closeout gratefulness moment for our last week's 5-day challenge. What's the 5-day challenge? It is Tuesday through Saturday of the next several weeks. Every day we will do a moment of gratefulness in the hopes that it will challenge you to post or comment and start your own. We had a focus last week, as we will have this week. Our focus last week was gratefulness moments or reflections of people who have made their transition. And so I talked about people like my Aunt Dot, like Carlton Wise. I talked about people who have lost their spouses, like Yolanda Day and Erica Darnell. People who've lost their twin, like Latasha Little. And picking up those pieces, people who've lost their parents, like Michelle Ballard and Dionne Falconer, who lost both mom and dad, to just pull into their conscious the gratefulness moments of reflection as they go through those dark and harrowing events. I shared about my Aunt Dot, who was tragically taken away from us in 1975, and what that event was like, and how there was even some grateful reflection in it, and how I pull that forward when her birthday or other days come to help me move through and navigate those difficult moments in time. And yesterday, I was so enthralled in that conversation that I neglected mentioning Raymond Tyler, who was the closeout for my week of gratefulness. Because a year ago, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, he passed away during this time of COVID. I didn't have the details. I wasn't expecting his passing. He was one of those individuals, and I imagine you probably have this in your life, an individual who you don't talk to every day or get to see every month, but their presence is felt. You know that they are in your world. Anybody have that? Click a like or share or love, that you don't get to talk to this person every day or every week, but you know this person is present in what I call the earth school. I believe this is one place we're supposed to get a lesson, bring a lesson, be a lesson, or learn a lesson. And Ray Tyler was that one of those presents. He provided great mentorship moments for me, provided great protection as security for me, ensured that the union wasn't going to give me a tough time. It was probably me giving them a tough time, but that's another story. He ensured that employees weren't going to give me a tough time. If employees came in there, Raymond Tyler said, now you're about to go in a meeting with Mr. Holmes. You know, he's over human resources, which for him I was, but of course I wasn't the human resources director. Now I want you to go in there on your best behavior. I don't want him to have to summons me. So he pep talked some of the people. You know, if he saw that they were sitting in the lobby and they were anxious or seemed like they was going to raise up, he might go out there and just, talk to how you doing today. All right. You're going in a grievance hearing. All right. So you probably want to just present yourself in the best way. If you want Mr. Holmes to really listen to your side, you can't go in there brustling up. He had a way of prepping the people that I was going in the meeting. And one of the things that was sage, I counted on it. He was a person that listened to all of the different things that were happening, not always commenting on them, but making note of them. And he would call me. He could call me sometimes in the evening, 8 or 9 at night, say, you busy? I say, Mr. T. He said, I got to tell you something. This is what I heard. So tomorrow when you go there, I'm going to meet you there. He was that kind of security guy. And he wasn't my exclusive detail. I didn't have a detail. He was security for all. But he had a way of looking out for human resources and taking great care of us. And I tagged some other folks from the human resources journey who I know, A.C. Bradford, who used to be in human resources, but was, the director of recreation and is now the director of Wayne County Parks and Recreation. She knows. She's worked closely with them. But others, I tagged others, Joyce Martin and Keisha Finch and I didn't tag Herbert Simmons. I got to probably go back and tag him. Kathy France and Farah Udegmanum. Just some of the folks who worked in that suite who understood how important his security mindset was to our safety and how it made us feel safe. Really did. And so he passed away almost, I think, a year to yesterday or a year to the day. It's one of the two. And I am saddened even now thinking about it, but I'm also grateful. In this moment, as I'm sharing with you, I'm filled up with seeing his face, hearing his voice, watching him as he played a CD that he made for me, because he would watch to see what your reflection was going to be on the CD, the stories that he would to share, and the lessons that he would share just about being watchful and about discerning who's really with you and who isn't. You know, after a meeting, he'd come up to me and say, what did you see? Did you see anything? Well, I saw when you said this, she looked like they had already had some conversation about that. So I'd watch her. I'm just saying, because she's not as forthcoming as she's presenting. He was just getting me to tune in, to be more socially aware to what's happening around me. And I am forever indebted for those kind of lessons, for those kind of, okay, we're going to go in there cool. Now, you already know she's going to be fired. So just go in there cool, because she riled up. I tried to calm her down, but she's riled up. All of those things were great. And that gratefulness is welling up inside me. And in the strength of that gratefulness, it changes how I see the day. It changes how I see the death, not how I experience it. It's still breaking to my heart. It's still sad, because I would have wanted him to live on and on and on, right? One of the people that you just expect to be around. But the grateful reflections help me take inventory of what I have left. I have, though I don't have Ray Tyler to hug, and I would hug him when I saw him, and he'd hug me back. I don't have that hug or that pat on the back or that I've been watching you doing good. I have a couple of those CDs, and I have his sayings, and I have the memories. I can take inventory of those as things I have left that remind me of him and make me grateful that our paths ever even crossed. You can do it too. I'm not saying it replaces the hurt. It does not replace the disappointment. It helps you to reframe it and repurpose the energy that you give to it so that you can have a more grateful life. That's what the gratefulness journey every day is about. And I'm challenging you to join me on this walk in a 5-day challenge. And we're doing a different one each week. So this week coming, our 5-day challenge is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And just as I did yesterday, I will go live on Saturday and hear from you. I will open the mic to hear from you. How did your 5-day challenge go? What can you share with us that might help power our gratefulness journey? Because I want to elevate the voice of gratefulness, and it doesn't always have to sound like mine. You have moments and reflections of gratefulness that you should share. I had the privilege to interview a young man who is a middle school teacher out in California who has become TikTok famous, I call him. His name is Donovan Taylor Hall. And I interviewed him on Friday to talk to him about his special brand of growth mindset and positive psychology principles that he instills or infuses in his curriculum to teach middle school students. He does these videos and they are amazing. And he has over 1 million views on TikTok. So we interviewed him on Friday to talk more to him about his passion. And fittingly so, because this week we are sharing in our gratefulness challenge, 5-day challenge, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the gratefulness reflections and moments with teachers, mentors, and lessons. So think about it for a second. Who is that teacher Who is that mentor, that guidance counselor? I don't even know if they call them guidance counselors anymore. Who is that adult that was a mentor for you when you were a child or young adult, or entering your master's program or entering your bachelor's program, or going into middle school, going to grade school, elementary school? Who is that teacher that still stands out to you today? And what lesson are you grateful for? Maybe you're just grateful for the teacher who was always kind, or always helpful, or always stern to keep you in line, always lovingly corrected you or paddled you if you grew up in a time where they were paddling. What is that lesson? And are you grateful for it? I want you to pull it forward to share it, whether they are living or not any longer living. Pull forward that gratefulness moment and reflection and make a post about it, and tag Love and Stuff or tag Marcus Holmes in it, or put hashtag gratefulness challenge. Okay. And we will be checking with it every day. I will also be posting from my mentors and teachers and lessons that I learned over those 5 days and sharing with you. And so what does this challenge do? It's challenging you to think more about gratefulness. What are you grateful for? We have so much to be grateful for. So let's hone in on a few of the areas, and let's see how it sparks and enlivens the gratefulness within you. Once you start talking about one teacher, you're going to start talking about others. And once you start talking about one lesson, you're going to start talking about how you use that lesson, mastered that lesson, and taught that lesson to someone else, which is something every teacher loves to see, the aha when you get the lesson. And every teacher is gratified when you teach that lesson to somebody else. And so as you open yourselves up, you're going to find that you have so much more room for gratefulness than you ever thought that you did. And it won't take a lot of the time. You know, everybody has these busy lives and everybody has so much to do. I just don't have time. You will be surprised at the time that you could use that is idle time, when you're checking your cell phone, when you are brushing your teeth, when you're combing your hair, when you're deciding what to wear. You have tons of habits that you can stack this gratefulness, attach this gratefulness to, and you will do it in no time. And you will change the trajectory of your day, reliving a lesson that your teacher taught you about being patient, or kind, or non-judgmental, or using your brain, or bell work, thinking of deadlines. There are so many connections to your everyday life that gratefulness can power and transform. So that's what the Gratefulness Challenge every day is all about. And I wanted to fittingly close out this week with one of my City of Detroit mentors, Ray Tyler, who taught me some great lessons. And he was not an HR professional, he was a security professional, but he taught me some great things around security detail, securing a perimeter stuff. I watch TV to figure out, but he taught me some great lessons about being socially aware. And I considered myself a fairly socially aware guy, but he taught me some things just about sitting in meetings and meeting dynamics that I had not really given the weight of attention to, that make a difference today when you're in the meeting, because everybody in a meeting thinks that everybody else in the meeting should be contributing and talking. But your contribution isn't always talking. Sometimes your contribution is active listening, and sometimes your contribution is determining who is on which sides of the main positions and points. And then how can you best advocate to move people from ally or adversary to ally? See, that's something that happens in a meeting. When there is something that your boss wants to put forward, but you see that there's opposition, but you got to be socially aware to see how the opposition presents itself, right? Shows up. And that's one of the things that I think Ray Tyler added to my arsenal of social awareness. And I can reflect on those memories, bring them forward, and I'm filled up by doing that. And what do I do with that filled up? It changes how I interact with people the rest of the day. It changes what I think I can accomplish. And it reminds me to be socially aware. So the next environment I go into, I'm going to watch the dynamics because I brought it forward. I'm going to put it right to use and say, oh, there's a person that needs prayer today. There's a person that needs a little more patience. They're having a bad day. It's not about you. It's about them having a bad day. Don't add to that bad day. Help them to turn it around with gratefulness. And you might just say, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were next in line. Thank you for telling me that. I'm grateful that I can be in a line and afford my food, sister, brother. I hope you have a great day. You doing okay today? That one moment could shift that person's path from getting in their car and being in road rage. You just don't know the power of gratefulness as it's seeking, it's craving for experiences to connect to power the lives of others. I'm just going to double check. Thank you, Patricia Henderson, for coming. Daryl Hall from Chicago. Darren Smith, thank you so much. I tagged some other folks. Patricia Henderson may know Ray Tyler. He was my person for the day. Thank you, Alicia, for tagging people. Jan Holmes Boyd. Thank you for Carter, Carter is my god fur baby who's more popular on Instagram than I am. I'm not really popular on Instagram yet. I just started really using it, to be honest. But Carter is smashing the game on Instagram. And I'm just like, go Carter. So Jan took the cutest picture of Carter with my book, if you haven't seen it. And so I've been using that and saying, hey, Carter has his book, get yours. It is adorable. Carter is adorable. And thank you for that, Jan Holmes Boyd. I thank you so much. I'm grateful that, I got a cousin who is helping to push me forward in things that I would do. It reminds me of my sister Vanessa, because my sister Vanessa would have been so in tune, and she loved to read. She would have been so in tune with this book, and let's promote it here. Here's a picture. You should take a picture, do this. That's kind of how Jan is doing. And so I adore that. I love it. And I love Carter. And I can't wait to meet Carter face to face. I have not met Carter. She lives in Memphis, Tennessee. I live in Detroit. Carter lives, of course, in Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm going to have to go visiting when this is over so I can at least hug the fur baby, hold the fur baby, read to the fur baby. I'm excited about that. And I hope that you will share this. Now, what are your next steps? I hope that your next steps are that you will join us on this gratefulness challenge. It's free. I'd love you to buy the book, but you don't have to buy the book to join it. You don't. And there is a free gratefulness everyday journal that you can get access to. We'll talk to that because you might want to start writing down your thoughts, right? But I just want you to try it out. So this is a trial, right? Try out this challenge. And everybody wins. I put that in the title as a teaser because I wanted to announce that everybody that's on the challenge has won. I know some of you say, I hate those participation trophies. I hate them. I get it. But the challenge is really individual because no one is going to benefit from your gratefulness journey as much as you will. Their benefits are a byproduct of your benefits. So you, my friend, are a winner if you try day one, because you will experience more gratefulness, more in the moment, inspiring power to live with clarity as you walk in being grateful. It's in the moment that you will experience it. And then what your brain starts to pick up on is that you're creating more of these moments and you like them because your chemicals and hormones will respond to stuff you like, right? And your brain takes note of that and says, oh, you like that, do you? Well, let me create a shortcut so you can get there more quickly with automaticity, automatically. So your brain takes notes and releases these chemicals and says, hey, I see a pattern here. Every morning we're getting this rush. Let's create a shortcut. And it builds new pathways and muscle memory so that you can have more of that. It looks now for cues. Where's that thing that Marcus loves? Where is that? Let me get you a shortcut. Oh, you love that? Okay, let me find the cues. Okay, it's causing you to salivate. Oh, there's a craving there. Let me collect this information, make a shortcut in your brain, and start to create new pathways so that when you feel pain, I can get you that shortcut to that gratefulness. When you feel disappointment, I can create a shortcut to that gratefulness. When you are betrayed or let down, when you are disgusted and busted, let me get you a shortcut so that you can power through it, not erase it, but you can move through it and navigate it with gratefulness. And that's what I want you to try for 5 days, starting Tuesday. And to help us focus and make it a little bit more, with a little more specificity, we're saying, pull forward those grateful reflections of your teacher, your professor, your mentor, or the lesson that any of those three, or lessons that any of those three have taught you for 5 days. So maybe you can only think of one mentor. So one mentor that one day, and 4 lessons, one for each of the other days. What did you learn? And why are you grateful that you learned it? You will begin to build a habit. Now, normally, when we are building a habit, we don't know that we're building a habit. Very few of the habits that you have did you write down and say, I'm going to do this every day. You probably brush your teeth every day because your parents told you when you were little, brush your teeth. Morning, noon, or night, or morning and night, or however you do it. Floss in between, right? But you didn't set out and say, I'm going to build a habit of brushing my teeth. You just brush them, right? Starting out, your parents might say, oh, boys supposed to be neat and comb their hair, which I heard forever because I had a head full of hair. And my mother used to plait my hair. Anybody know what plaits are? She would plait my hair at night and pick it out, put a little oil sheen on it, royal crown. Anybody ever heard of that? I did it like this because that stuff is thick. You got to smack your hands together and rub that bad, but boy. And she put it all through my hair and she'd pick it. Sometimes she'd do the hot pick. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But she would pick it out, and I was what they call tender-headed, especially right around in here. But she'd pick it out and she said, you better let me pick your hair because if your daddy see your hair ain't picked, he gonna take you in the basement and cut it off. And my daddy, bless his memory, Herbert Clark Holmes, would certainly take me in the basement and shave my hair off. But I had at that time more, I think, of the Coleman genes. My mother's maiden name is Coleman because all of the men have head full of hair. And my hair would grow back like this. Now, today, I got the home stuff because it won't grow like that. But I had this big fro, me and my sister, and people thought that we were twins at that age because we both had these fros and I guess both, cute faces or whatever. But she would plait them and, pick them out. But as I got older, even though I like to rustle and play, get dirty and mess up my hair, as I got older, I made sure that I got my hair cut or comb my hair. I never sat out and said, you know what? I'm going to comb my hair. It's a habit that you do, right? There was a time that I wore business suits more. And I said, you know what? I'm going to wear a tie. Automatically, that was a part of it. Those are habits that you didn't set out to create, that you create. So you could be starting this habit and not knowing that you're starting this habit, just starting the 5-day challenge. And then you'll wake up thinking, boy, am I grateful for... If you wake up thinking about gratefulness and you wake up pulling into your consciousness reflections of the past or thoughts of the present or hope for the future about gratefulness, you, my friend, are on the gratefulness journey. You just want to build an effective habit in it. Build an effective habit for the gratefulness journey, and it will transform your life. It's not a linear transformation. Sometimes you rock back and forth. Sometimes you go cumulative, you go around. But it's a beautiful and extraordinary journey because you will see the progress. You'll be able to recognize the progress in your life. So that doesn't mean that there aren't times that I want to yell at the person who cut in front of me in line or on the road. But it does help me that I've had these gratefulness moments to reflect, to breathe deeply, to stop and be in the moment and ask myself, now, why did this send you to level 10? Okay, can you control this? Can you get yourself back to 4? Okay, you can't. Can you get yourself back to 8? Okay, we at 8. Can you get yourself back to 6? Okay, can you get yourself back to 4? Good job. Can you get yourself back to 1? Gratefulness will help you do that. It will help you. Even Alicia was sharing, she's a dear friend. She was sharing that it's helping with some of the levels of fussing. You know how we fuss. And sometimes the fussing takes on a life of its own. I'm not saying that about Alicia. I'm just talking from my experience. Sometimes the fussing can take on a life of its own. When you walk more intentionally in gratefulness, you'll start to say, now, what am I really fussing about? What do I really have to complain about? I really am blessed. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. You will start to, in the moment, the first word that came to me was self-correct, but you'll start to, in the moment, adjust the amount and flow of energy that you give to things that are not positive. That's what you have to adjust. Thank you, Daryl Hall from Chicago. I hope that you will get more Chicagoans, I hope I said that right, to join us on the journey. I want everybody. I got one of the greatest compliments, and Daryl is a dear friend of mine whom I love deeply. I love Daryl and the Hall family, but I love me some Daryl Hall. I'm grateful for. What a glorious relationship over 20 years. I don't even know if I'm old enough to say that, but I got a great compliment from someone who says, who sent me an inbox and said, thank you, Marcus, for writing a book that can change the world. Boy, did that fill me up. I was like, it scared me at first. I was like, I might change the world. Or the book that God is speaking through me to might change the world. I hope that. That's, it feels lofty still, but to hear it aligned with what I'm thinking, if just some people say, you know what, I'm going to try this out, and say, you know what, it does help me reframe energy. And it does give me choices and options. And it does make me say that I can change my life. If you've ever been broken, if you've ever been disappointed, if you've ever felt left out, skipped over, lonely, been bereaved, frustrated with how life is going, what I believe the gratefulness journey does for you is give you options. Options to see that not everything is the in the moment experience that you're having, that there's room in the moment for you to experience gratefulness, even in disappointment, even in betrayal, even in a mortgage foreclosure, or the loss of your spouse to COVID, or your children, or your parents, even in hard caregiving days. You have options to use the power of gratefulness, the in the moment power, to create for yourself a different muscle memory, a different brain pathway, a different regimen for how you navigate those moments. And I would encourage everybody to join Daryl, me and others, Alicia, many others, on this gratefulness journey, especially on these gratefulness challenges that you will see over the next couple of weeks. So we're at 2:47. Okay, we had a slight dip in communication. I think we are back. All right, looks like we're fine. Thank you, Phyllis Lloyd. Thank you, Cora Fitch Williams, for joining us as well. We are closing out our Gratefulness Journey Challenge of this past week, and we are moving forward into our Gratefulness Journey of next week. Okay, looks like it's still a little dip in the looking at the Facebook page, making sure that we are all set and good. Like it's okay. Yeah, it appears to be. Apologize for that dip, and we're having a little technical difficulties. I think we're still going. Okay, looks like a screen freeze, but I'm going to keep on talking, and hopefully we will be okay. All right. At 2:50, I'm closing out, and I want to invite you to join us on the Grateful Challenge, part of the Gratefulness Journey every day, Tuesday through Saturday. This Tuesday coming. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every day, I want you to make a post of someone or something that you're grateful for. And this week, we're doing teachers, mentors, professors, instructors, or the lessons that they taught you. So try it. Try every day to post on whatever social media platform you choose. Of course, I love Facebook. But wherever you choose it, put the hashtag Gratefulness Challenge. And that way I can search it and see who's on the journey with me. And I can try to comment on your post to engage with you. I'm going to be posting as well every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, about a teacher or mentor or professor or instructor or a lesson that I gained from one of them and why I'm grateful for it, that I'm grateful for it, and why. And you will see in this 5-day challenge how it will inspire you to more gratefulness. You will begin to think more deeply about the lessons in your life. And if anybody's had some really good lessons and you've had to revisit those lessons, sometimes the lesson gets revisited because you didn't learn it completely. But sometimes, my friends, the lesson comes back so that other people can learn it, so that you can facilitate it for others in real time. So don't always think because you're experiencing something twice that you didn't learn the lesson. That could be. It could be. But it could also more powerfully be that God wants to show other people the lesson that you learned in real time, because you just telling them the lesson might not have the same impact that they need for them to experience or watch or observe you going through the lesson again. And you're going through a lesson a second time. You did learn some things in that first lesson that you will implement the second time you go through it. And what a powerful facilitation that is for someone else to see you going through that lesson the second time, because you done learned something new now of how to go through it. And so they're learning as you get better and reinforce the learning, it reinforces the learning for them. You, my friend, have become a facilitator of gratefulness because you are showing them how to go through the lesson that you had learned before. And now you know going in the lesson what you didn't know going in the lesson before, and they get to see it in real time. So not every lesson that you repeat is a lesson because God is saying, hello, you didn't get that lesson. No, there's something else that he wants to give till you get through you to somebody else quite often. And so it's an opportunity for, as you delve into some of those lessons to share, somebody might need to hear the lesson, as I shared from one of my mentors earlier, Ray Tyler from the city, becoming more and more and more socially aware. Are you aware of the dynamics that happen when you enter a room? Did you interrupt the dynamics? Did you get in the flow of the dynamics? Are you called into that room to interrupt the flow or to get in the flow? Who's in the flow? Who's on which side versus the other? Who likes or dislikes the other? These are important things when you're going into an environment, to be socially aware, to understand the dynamics that are at play before you got there, and what you can do to leverage those dynamics to leave with what you needed to get when you leave there. See, that's a lesson of social awareness that I had been taught and had learned before, but I learned more and more under the tutelage, if you will, of Ray Tyler, about the things that I could glean, garner, and gain from a meeting to use to walk out with a deliverable from that meeting. And you could do that too. That's a lesson, right? And so I could have used that as my Tuesday. I won't, but I could use that as my Tuesday and be grateful for it, because I've got tons of examples where I put that to work and I walked away from the situation with what I needed to get out of the situation. And I gave to the situation what I was supposed to give to it. I closed my eyes on that because that's meaningful to me. I derive part of the meaningful impact of my life is, am I giving to a situation? Am I giving to a relationship? Am I giving to someone's life what is meant for them to get? See, you could do this Tuesday through Saturday. And on Saturday, sometime in the afternoon, and I'll post it ahead of time, we'll all come together on a live just like this. And you can take the mic, I hope you will, and share what your gratefulness challenge this week has been like. We want to hear from you. And so we will gather on these next several weeks as we do gratefulness challenges. We will gather on Saturday to just talk about what this week has been and meant. And I hope that you will join us on this journey. As you know, I have the Gratefulness Journey every day, my first book that has been released. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? It is available on Amazon, both as an ebook and as paperback. We would love your support. We'd love, certainly, if you write a review after you read it. It emerges from my personal journey of loss and disappointment and trauma, and pulls these 3 practices that I want you to do that are successful for me. And I think because of the gratitude science and happiness science, have been tested as great to use. And so I just put a Marcus Holmes flow in it as it developed for me from the gratitude science. So mine has 3 things instead of just one. And you can learn about those if you read the book. But these 3 things that build together as a habit that you do every day will bring you more joy, more peace, more freedom, better rest. It will bring you so many benefits. All you have to do is try it. I'm Marcus Holmes, and I'm excited about the Gratefulness Journey every day, excited about the Gratefulness Challenge. I hope that you will join us by saying, I'm in, and then getting in the game. So on Monday night, we will do a Monday evening, probably won't be night, but Monday evening, we'll do an are you in? And all I want you to do is drop by and drop your name and say, I'm in. Just drop the words, I'm in. I'm in. And then Tuesday, you'll start. And if you're interested in getting the free PDF or Word document, it is a Gratefulness Journey journal that you can use every day. It has enough space in it for 120 days, so that's about 4 months. And you can journal every day if you'd like to. Write down in your challenge what you want to write down. If you're the kind of person that likes to journal, we can get that to you for free. And you can inbox me and we'll send the link to you. I want the engagement with you. So that's why I'm not just posting it in here for people to lift. I want to make sure that you are coming along on the journey with us. And so please do that. Thank you so much. I hope you will share this with 5 of your closest Facebook friends or platform friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends or platform friends, and have them join us on the Gratefulness Journey Challenge on the way to the Gratefulness Journey every day. Have a grateful rest of your weekend and afternoon.